وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. Okay, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. What we're going to do to study today, inshallah, is Suratul Nazeaat. So we'll see if we can fit it between now and 35 past, because we promised you with another topic. So if you go to the Quran, it's Surah number 79, and I'm going to go through briefly what's in the Surah.
I was about to say there's nothing on the screen.
So Allah Azza wa Jal made an oath by Nazi'at, which is the angels who do a certain job. We'll come back to it. And then he starts saying that event, the event of Day of Judgment, which will take place, what will happen first, second, and third, and fourth, and what the people will say on that day. And then Allah briefly say that this is going to happen. And then, as before, we said, Allah make an oath. He mentioned things about the Day of Judgment, or he mentioned things he created now, or he tell a story first, or he tell a punishment first. But here he told us about the angels who will take the soul of the people, and then what will happen on the Day of Judgment, how people will react to the Day of Judgment, to the hour. And then he mentioned the story of Musa and how Allah Azza wa Jal punished him, and how Musa was sent to Pharaoh. Very brief history, what Pharaoh did, and how he claimed that he is God, the highest, and how Allah destroyed it. And that should be a lesson to people. And then he come back to talk about what he created on earth, and the importance of the creation on earth. أنتم أشد خلقا أم السماء بناها. And he lists things he created about the heavens, the earth, the mountains, and animals, what they were getting. And then he goes back that to the Day of Judgment, what he called it here Tama, which the biggest disaster anybody could meet in his life, and how man will start remembering what he's done, and the hellfire will become visible to people. And then he will say those who do good deeds, those who exceeded the limits and did bad deeds, the hellfire will be their destinations. And those who were afraid of the mighty Allah Azza wa Jal. Let me get it to you in English here, so you could that hellfire will be the destination. So those who were good, the paradise will be a destination. And he ended the surah that people who are really sarcastic, okay, Day of Judgment there, when is going to happen? Tell us now. And he said to the Prophet ﷺ, no way you are able to tell them. Like the Prophet ﷺ said, لا تقوم الساعة حتى تشرق الشمس من مغربها. That Day of Judgment will not take place until the sun rises from the west. Now, the rises from the west, if we take it like another hadith, the sun will rise on the Day of Judgment to the middle of the sky and then goes back where it came from. So to our understanding to earth, that the earth then anti-clockwise, and then will be like a day in Australia, the sun in the middle, and then turn clockwise, so the sun will disappear in the west, in the east, where it came from, and will appear in the west in Britain. That's one interpretation. The other one, the Prophet ﷺ looked into heaven and he said there's a gate in the heaven. When the sun come in the west, when the sun come through that gate, the hour will take place. And that's extremely beyond our imagination. If our sun moving within the galaxy, where is that gate? How long it takes for the sun to move around the Milky Way and come from that gate? or if the gate is a collection of galaxies and a galaxy moving and coming through that galaxy. So who's going to imagine when the day of judgment is going to happen? So Allah didn't leave it to anybody to know. Because no matter what He explained to anybody, it's going to be beyond their imagination, beyond their knowledge, beyond their ability to know when and how, whatever is going to happen. So He said, it's a matter belongs to Allah Azza wa Jal. You only warn those who are afraid of it. If people are not afraid of it, they don't care. If you say Day of Judgment, Allah will bring you to account, Allah will punish you, reward you, they don't care. They need to start thinking where we came from, where the universe came from. There's somebody created the universe. I believe in that creator. And then He will come and search for the messages came from the creator. And He will come across the Quran or the Bible or the Torah or whatever, and start thinking about Allah Azza wa Jal. So this is a very brief on the surah. But if we go to where am I now? When I link Talha to the projector, I lose the screen, become too small, and then half my things disappear. When I take that out, now it's widescreen.
No salah.
Go to the highest and then see what happens.
I think this is it. بدك اياها كبيرة ولا بدك اياها زوم أكثر؟
لا منيحة.
شوف بس هي distorted شوي. منيح هيك؟ ولا بدك أصغر؟
إيه خلاص منيحة. يمكن. Blurred here.
That's fine. لأنه هذا مو وايد screen.
Now we are recording on that. So if you go to the Quran, والنازعات غرقا, والناشطات نشطا, we couldn't transmit to the internet because couldn't get the streaming key. The key I've got didn't work, and so I'm going to record it and probably upload. So والنازعات غرقا, النازعات here are the angels. Hello, too late. We're finishing in 20 minutes now. والنازعات غرقا, النازعات here the angels, and غرقا, they are deeply involved in what they are doing so strongly that they pull out the soul and the spirit of the kafirin in a very painful way. And the Prophet ﷺ described it like, a spike of metal, and you just in a wet wool and trying to rip it off. So they try to take the soul away from the body, and they are so involved in taking it مستغرق, like they say in Arabic, with violence. والناشطات نشطة are the angels who are actually taking the that's not going to behave well. والناشطات نشطة are the angels who are
because the Quran is off the screen.
all right. وَالنَّاشِطَاتِ نَشْطًا, and the angels who take the soul from the believers and the blessed soul. وَالسَّابِحَاتِ سَبْحًا, and those who glide along, taking the soul of the people back to Allah Azza wa Jal. They actually take them and show them their places in paradise, or they take the kafirin and show them their places in hellfire. فَالسَّابِقَاتِ سَبْقًا, they are in a race with each other, just very quick, want to get them to see the good news that their place in paradise is this and this. فَالْمُدَبِّرَاتِ أَمْرًا, and these angels who take the command from Allah Azza wa Jal and execute. And that execution will be on the day of judgment, يَوْمَ تَرْجِفُ الرَّاجِفَةِ, when there is violent shake to the earth, and the whole universe will be going through a massive change. Like Allah says, زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا, a mighty earthquake, and the earth will bring out all this heavy metal within it. So يوم ترجف الراجفة تتبعها الرادفة. So a sequence of emotion, the day of judgment. There's three things you need to remember: the sa'a, the hour, which is the violent change in the universe, the changes that Allah will cause to end the life in this universe. Like all the stars will dim, all the sun will explode, and the earth will explode, and things will change, all of it in a mighty, violent way. And then you have the recreation. Allah changed the earth into a different earth and the heavens into different heavens. And then al-qiyamah, when Yawm al-Ba'ath, when Allah will bring all the creatures back to life, bring the soul into their body, and then including the animals. And then Yawm al-Hashr, when He assembled them, judged them, and then they go to either hellfire or paradise. So you have the three sequence of events. And the first event, obviously, the book will be blown, the trumpet will be blown 3 times. One to end the life here, and one to bring everybody back to life, and when all the soul will be killed. تتبعها الرادفة. And on that day, the sa'a, the hour, the violent change, and the hour will only be witnessed by unbelievers. For Allah will send a wind from Sham and will take the soul of all the believers, and the people who will remain are those who are unbelievers. And the Prophet ﷺ said the day of judgment will not take place until nobody say Allah on earth, and the Quran will be lifted, and there will be only the unbelievers around, and they will be behaving like worse than animals in a very bizarre, disgusting way. And then when the day of judgment takes place, their hearts will be, the heart on that they will be agitated, floating in their chest like, وَبَلَغَتِ الْقُلُوبُ الْحَنَاجِرَ وَتَظُنُّونَ بِاللَّهِ الظُّنُونَ. The heart will be like in the throat, about to come out from the extreme fear. أبصارها خاشعة. They can't just stand because they are so afraid of things. They just try to hide their faces and their body. And when you read this to the kafir and unbeliever, they will say, "Oh, is that true? Are we going to come back again to life as before after we die, even after we are rotten bones?" Because the problem with the unbelievers is two. First of it, they don't believe there is God. The other side, those who believe there is God, they associate partner with Him. So they want a worthy God, a God they can't imagine, they can't see, they can't touch, whatever. So they make partners to Allah, either statues or idols, or they made Jesus partner with Allah Azza wa Jal. Or a lot of Jews, they don't believe in Allah, believe they are the greater creation, Shabullah Mukhtar, the chosen nation, and they're going to go to paradise no matter what they do. So they just carry on. So they have problem with believing in life after death. That's the other thing. Either they don't believe in Allah or associate a partner with Allah, or they don't believe in life after death. And when they don't believe in life after death, obviously they don't believe in the accountability. So they do whatever they want because they're not going to be punished for it. So if you don't believe in the hereafter, life after death, you can't establish any moral values, any justice, any equality, because people will be, they can't get away with stealing the world, they wouldn't mind. You just do what they prefer to do. إذا كنا قالوا, and then they say to each other, oh, if that happened, then we will be in a loss then. There will be great loss to them. So Allah Azza wa Jal always answer them. He wouldn't say, yes, there will be day of judgment. He says, on that day, verily it will be a single compelling cry. It will be zajratun, telling a massive telling off. You will be really so much afraid and worried. And وَإِذَا هُمْ بِالسَّاهِرَةِ, they are in no time they're standing before Allah Azza wa Jal to judge. So they all brought back to life, and now you're facing your Lord, and He is judging your previous deed. And your Lord is the one who dealt with Pharaoh. So he's more, and that's probably the first time he mentioned Musa and Pharaoh, because these ayahs and these surahs appeared in Mecca at the very beginning of the message. So هل أتاك حديث موسى? He's talking to Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. The story of Musa إذ ناداه ربه بالوادي المقدس طوى, when Allah called him in the holy valley of Tuwa. So Jabal Tur, when the Prophet Musa was going from Palestine back to Egypt, and he passed through Sinai, and there is the mountain there and the valley of Tuwa. So the mountain of Tur, when Allah spoke to him, and this is why the Jewish were keen to, they say this is part of their empire. When Musa was there and he spoke to Allah Azza wa Jal, and they tried to come and claim back like Khaybar and claim back even Mecca and things, this is the land of Ibrahim. So when they're talking about Abrahamic faith, they're not talking about it because they want to start a healthy dialogue with Muslims or Christians. They just want to claim back things. Like when Brother Ahmed Riza wrote the article about Eid al-Adha and how Ibrahim tried to sacrifice his son Ismail, a guy called Peter Thompson, he wrote an email to me. He said, but Ibrahim was trying to slaughter Isaac. Why they say that? The Christian tried to say, he tried to slaughter Isaac. They don't want to acknowledge Ismail at all, because from Ismail alayhi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came. They brush him off. He's the son of the slave Hajar, so he's not counted. And Isaac is the one who was trying to slaughter him. And the reason he didn't slaughter him, that God said to him, no need to slaughter your son, I will be slaughtering my son. That Allah told him, I will be slaughtering my son Jesus. So the Jewish took it differently also. They said Isaac was the one who was slaughtered, and Isaac is the official son of Ibrahim, and Allah promised Ibrahim to give him Palestine will be for him, Bilad Canaan they called it, and his children after him, and his children are the children of Isaac and Jacob, as Israel, and its Palestine belongs to the Jew. So everybody tried to pull the story to their end. So إذ ناداه ربه بالوادي المقدس طوى اذهب إلى فرعون, go to Pharaoh, إنه طغى, he has exceeded the limit, he transgressed the limit in all bounds, and he wants him to go to him. Now, one of them, the planning of Allah Azza wa Jal, now you can't even go and meet whenever you want Boris Johnson or the Queen or Macron or any president, especially a tyrant, and how you can get there. So subhanAllah, Allah made Musa live in that palace, become one of their children. So when he come, he will have easy way to get in and meet Pharaoh and spoke to him. So it's like go to your old friend, like the old guy who used to live in his palace, Pharaoh, because he has exceeded the limit since you left him, and he's becoming even worse. And invite him, like a soft invite. Can I give you a good, gentle advice, brotherly advice or something? هل لك إلى أن تزكى, so you purify and you increase. Zakah means increase in your importance, increase in your power, increase in your people who love you more. If I tell you what you could do, you will really get better. So it was like a nice advice فقل هل لك إلى أن تزكى وأهديك. I will give you a gift of the guidance, gift of hidayah. I mean, like if you're really lost and somebody come and guide you to the destination, it's like a gift. He gave you a gift because you were really spending hours trying to find out. We were trying to enter Paris once. I was driving. I was moving around in a circle 6-7 times. I couldn't get out of this where I was going before this navigation things. So you will be mindful of Allah Azza wa Jal, you will respect your Lord, you will gain by getting to the side of your Lord. And he saw him, فَأَرَاهُ الْآيَةَ الْكُبْرى. So there's a lot of miracles he performed, and the biggest, could be the biggest, the one which is the snakes ate all the snakes, because that led all the magicians to believe. So they're saying there were like 70,000 snakes. They brought all the magicians from all over the places, and the staff of Musa ate them all. فَأَرَاهُ الْآيَةَ الْكُبْرى فَكَذَّبَ وَعَصَى. And he denied that there is God, there is Lord, and he rejected and disobeyed Allah Azza wa Jal and refused to believe with Musa alayhi salatu salam. But he was very terrified of the experience. And the scholars say this is why he ran away in a hurry to get somebody to defeat Musa. So he didn't kill him first, because he asked him, دعوني أقتل موسى ومن معه إلا يغير دينكم ويظهر في الأرض الفساد. Let me kill him. According to their law, if somebody commits a crime and 10 years passed, he can't kill him. And Musa stayed 10 years with Shu'aib before he went back, because he didn't want to go after 8 years, because his wedding mahar was to serve 8 years. So أدبر يسعى, he went back running to find people to defeat Musa alayhi salatu salam. فحشر فنادى. So حشر means he collected a lot of people, a huge number of people, here the magicians and the people, because Musa alayhi salatu salam, he chose the day of celebration when people are off anyway and they are celebrating Yawm al-Zina, they call this, the day of decoration, the day of beauty, like Eid, like festival. فحشر فنادى, and he like exercising his power to them before he met Musa. Remember, I am your highest Lord. أنا ربكم الأعلى. So he tried to psychologically overcome the people in advance, like preempted. And Allah Azza wa Jal said, فَأَخَذَهُ اللَّهُ نَكَالَ الْآخِرَةِ وَالْأُولَى. So Allah Azza wa Jal destroyed him. And some scholars said because he first said مَا لَا أَرَى لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَهٍ غَيْرِي. In the beginning he said, I can't see any God other than me, who is your Lord. And that's the first time. And the second and the last time he claimed to be God. I'm the highest, your highest Lord. أنا ربكم الأعلى. So, or could be فأخذه الله نكال الآخرة والأولى. He destroyed him in this life, and he's punishing him in the grave, and there will be severe punishment also in the hereafter. But he is to be a lesson, an example to people. So he finished that by saying, ذَلِكَ الْعِبْرَةِ. There is a lesson in this to those who are mindful of Allah Azza wa Jal, who fear Allah Azza wa Jal. You need to make sure that don't exceed your limit, because Allah is not asleep. Allah is watching you, is observing you, and one day He will hit you if you exceed your limits. And then he turned back to say, what I said about Musa, what I said is going to happen in the Day of Judgment, it's me who created this earth. And you are not far more difficult to create than السماء. أنتم أشد خلقا. Allah Azza wa Jal said in another surah, لَخَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ أَكْبَرُ مِنْ خَلْقِ النَّاسِ. Creating the heavens and earth is far much greater than creating human. Because you need to create the atoms, oxygen, hydrogen, carbon, silicon, is the difficult. But to join these together and make, materials out of it is easy. Like if you want to build a car, you will ask, I need iron, I need aluminium, I need copper, I need rubber, I need, we haven't got it, can't make a car for you. Get me the things, I will make the car. But nobody came, I'll create it for you. Only Allah can do that. أنتم أشد خلقا أم السماء بناها. He structured it. It's well structured. There's so much might in the creation of the heavens, and what we have seen so far is so mind-blowing. 200 billion galaxies and counting, and every galaxy have 200 billion stars, and every star have so many planets around it, and one biggest star, you need a plane to move around that star for 1,120 years to move around that sun, massive sun. So you're not greater than the creation of the heaven of Sama. He built it up. رفع سمكها فسواها. He raised, it's going to be, the thing is that they discovered, and this is how Hubble found his theory of the Big Bang and things like that. The heaven is increasing in depth, and the thickness is increasing, and is increasing in its structure and in its speed and its order and things. And رفع سمكها, and he perfected it, فسواها, and وأغطش ليلها وأخرج ضحاها. He made it dark wherever he wants, or light wherever he wants. So there's light, for us, this little sun there lightening our earth. I mean, all people will be living on like 1,000 watts of lamp and bulbs and things, and no matter how strong your light, when the sun rises, you switch off your light because it becomes minute considering the light from the sun. وأخرج ضحاها, and والجبال أرساها والأرض بعد ذلك دحاها. Now some scholars thought دحاها, he made the earth like an egg in shape, like duhya, like the doubt when you make a bread. But I was listening to Suratul Nazeaat, he said no, it's actually دحاها. He made it covered. He said the earth mentioned in the Quran to mean 7 meanings. One of it, the earth created with the 7 heavens and earth. And one of it, the earth itself as a bowl of fire, and the earth is the crest which Allah created on the top of this bowl of fire, which is the lava underneath, and that thing, he made it smooth and lining the earth like a skin around it. And the Prophet ﷺ said, when Allah created the earth, it started being wobbly, and then he created the mountains to fix it so it will not move. And then he said, أخرج منها ماءها ومرعاها. أخرج منها ماءها ومرعاها. That the water, because people thought that water must have come from a comet. Okay, but there's no sign that Earth has been hit by a comet. And there's nothing, to show. It's more like what Allah said, and they're discovering now it's within the earth. And what they said, they found that a lot of volcanoes, when they erupt, there's the steam come out with it, and the steam, with the 8 million years, the earth went through the process at the beginning, there's enough steams came from inside the earth, so Allah made the water inside the earth and came out through the massive volcanoes which formed the continents, and from this water obviously he made the plants and vegetation survive. The thing is that you're reading the surah 1400 years ago, and the Arab were fascinated by the surah, but you read the surah in the 21st century and we are fascinated by the amount of information on it, because the formation of earth and the heavens is really a puzzle to all the scientists been studying it for ages. وَالْجِبَالَ أَرْسَاهَا, he firmly, because he's saying that the way the mountains is being formed also is like the volcanoes throwing the things and landing on earth and forming the mountains. So you have the big mountains there, but it is thrown on earth. أَلْقَيْنَا فِيهَا رَوَاسِيَ, Allah said, we've thrown into earth rawasi. It didn't come from outer space, it's from within the earth, to stabilize the earth. وَالْجِبَالَ أَرْسَاهَا family. مَتَاعًا لَكُمْ وَلِأَنْعَامِكُم, so you could live on the earth, and your animals could live on the earth and survive. مَتَاعًا لَكُمْ وَلِأَنْعَامِكُم. Then he goes back to confirm the Day of Judgment. All the surah to make you believe in the Creator, believe in the Day of Judgment. I reinforce this again and again and again. Because we keep forgetting, you come and next day you forget and start doing things wrong and start, misbehaving and treating people. فإذا جاءت الطامة الكبرى, طامة الكبرى, like a massive disaster you could ever meet. Like if somebody had the washing machine broke and the temper dryer broke and the car broke down and you lost your deposit here and you lost some precious expensive watch and things, and then suddenly the father dies. Massive hit to the family. Become like these small problems in the house irrelevant to the massive hits you had. So the Day of Judgment, it's Yawm al-Tamma al-Kubra, the massive hit human will get. The day when يتذكر الإنسان, the human will start remembering what I've done, what I have installed, what I have actually prepared for this day. And وبرزت الجحيم لمن يرى. The Day of Judgment, the Jahim will be brought, hellfire, and people will see the hellfire. وَإِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا, Allah Azza wa Jalla said, all of us will pass over hellfire. Doesn't mean wariduha means in it. فَلَمَّا وَرَدَ مَاءَ مَدْيَنَ, when Musa came to the water of Madian, but he didn't fall into the well of Madian, but he came near the water of Madian. وَإِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا, all of us will pass over hellfire on the sirat, and that will be sharp as the blade and as thin as the hair. But Allah will make you move there faster than speed of light and things. وَبُرِّزَتِ الجَّحِيمُ لِمَنْ يَرَى, and then you face the music. فَأَمَّا مَنْ طَغَى, exceed his limits and the pounds, and he preferred the luxury of this life. He doesn't care about what Allah prepared for him, and he doesn't care about his punishment. He doesn't care about his reward, and he doesn't care about the punishment. وَآثَرَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا, so then his destination will be hellfire. الجحيم هي المأوى, his abode. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ, the one who was afraid of Allah Azza wa Jal and aware of the standing before Allah Azza wa Jal, and he forbid his nafs from following its own desires. And nafs, when you have a spirit enter the body at the age of when you are 42 days or 120 days in the tummy of your mom, it's called spirit. But when the spirit leaves the body, Allah call it nafs. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك هادية راضية مرضية. You nafs now, the spirit, but it has all the experience and all the knowledge and all the carry all the burden of its bad deeds or good deeds. But your nafs now, it has experienced life and left life back to Allah Azza wa Jal. اتقوا يوما ترجعون فيه إلى الله فإن الجنة هي المأوى. Jannah will be the destination. Then Allah Azza wa Jal said, يسألونك عن الساعة. You talk about Jannah and heaven and hell, and when is it going to be? When is it going to be? You tell us. And that's always a question people throw into it, into the prophets and the messages. Now for us, it's easy. Prophet ﷺ came, told us about this. He departed, but he left the Quran. The Quran telling us about the Day of Judgment is going to happen. When, we will not know. But it will happen. And for you and me, Day of Judgment when we die. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Man mata faqad qamat qiyamatuh." Whoever dies, his Day of Judgment took place. But between your death and Day of Judgment is no time. It's zero. يسألونك عن الساعة أيان مرساها. When is the time before it? And how would you know? It's too mighty, too complicated, and then you can't understand time to understand things happening. Because time is relevant and related to too many things. And one day is equal to 1,000 years of our reckoning, and one day is equal to 50,000 years of our reckoning. So if you look into how long you live on earth will be a second and a half. If you time that 1,000 one day, which is 1,000 years, and 50,000 years, each one of these days is 1,000 years. So time this and this and this becomes like the speed of light. Somebody tried to do it like the speed of light, and you live at 70, 80 years. It's around 1.5 seconds of that day Allah talked about. So we live 1.5 seconds of that day, the 50,000 years. فيما أنت من ذكراها إلى ربك منتهى. It's matter belongs to Allah Azza wa Jal, and He knows when it's going to happen, and He fixed it. And your job, O Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, to warn those who are afraid of it. But the day when they see the Day of Judgment, they will discover that they only lived a morning or an evening. Ashiyatan aw duha, not even a full day. The morning gone and the Day of Judgment happened, or the afternoon finished, the Day of Judgment happened. And then Allah Azza wa Jal finished the ayah by this: كأنهم يوم يرونها لم يلبثوا إلا عشية أو ضحاها. So Allah Azza wa Jal comforted the Prophet ﷺ, but he took the challenge. So this ayat actually in Juz Amma is more challenging the kuffar again and again and again. Subhanallah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi.